Welcome to the Hollywood Scholar. I'm Jed Morgan, and HBO Max's sequel series to the Suicide Squad, Peacemaker, has released, and it's been received with mostly positive reviews, surprisingly enough. I've seen the first 3 episodes, and I generally was kind of meh on the whole situation. There were parts of it that I quite enjoyed and quite loved, and there were jokes that I genuinely laughed at, but there were a lot of political aspects to it that I did not enjoy and was beat over the head with it. There were several characters who existed solely for diversity and political reasons and had no business being there. To join an elite squad of super spies, you're gonna have to pass some physical tests. And I don't think someone's gonna be able to pass those. Just saying. But generally, there were parts of it that I did quite enjoy, and there was a lot of scenes that I just cringed the hell at. But John Cena, still great in this role, still loved him. As someone who thought The Suicide Squad was one of the best movies of last year, I was looking forward to this and really hopeful for it. And generally just kind of meh on the whole situation. Not really enough for me to get super invested. I'm going to keep watching the show as someone who was super invested in The Suicide Squad. Definitely going to keep watching it. But it's still not doing so well for me. But I seem to be in the minority in that situation. Because over here on Rotten Tomatoes, which, to be fair, is rarely trustworthy, but it's the comparison of these two numbers, which is usually where you find the truth. And 94%, that's insanely good. And of course, critics are going to love the political aspect of the story. Not surprising whatsoever. With the fans, I'm quite surprised to see 85%. That's actually a fairly decent score. Fairly good, in fact. That was very surprising to me. I was not expecting to see something of that quality from the fans. But let's take a look at a few of their reviews. Finally, sex, violence, nudity, all in a comic book series. I was quite surprised that they had female nudity in it. Most, tit shots are considered sexist nowadays. So there was 2 or 3 of them that I was like, oh shit, nice. And I was quite surprised with that. Male nudity, totally fine. But most of Hollywood seems to think sex sells is a dog whistle for the alt-right or just some horrible thing to say, but it sells for both genders. Women went to go see Aquaman because sex sells. Aquaman being shirtless throughout the whole movie, that sold a shit ton of tickets. And they seem to they're not willing to admit that women's sexuality is not a good thing or a bad thing in film and television. It's just a way to do things. Totally fine, and it does work. Whether or not you use it is up to you, but to act like it's such an evil thing is very disingenuous. While simultaneously having male sexuality, male shirtless men bringing in the box office and cheering for that, that's a very hypocritical and frankly sexist approach to the whole situation. I wish for the days of default neutral where you could go in, male nudity, female nudity, sex sells positively or negatively, politically neutral as the default. You can have your woke story here, your conservative story there, but default neutral. And yes, so that is one thing I can praise the film for, is it did have female nudity. Very funny, doesn't take itself seriously at all. Perfect comic book nonsense in the same vein as The Boys, although not as dark. The insults are smart and hilarious, and they come up whip fast. Can't wait for more. So that is a highly praised review. There's a lot of those in here, in fact, but I actually felt that whip fast is an inaccurate description of some of the jokes. Some of them went on for so long. God, it's just like, yep, it's funny. Oh, he likes America? He's bad. That's funny. Oh, he didn't understand what sweet cheeks meant? Yeah, 5 minutes later. That's funny. Or the one joke that went on way too long for me is one of the characters' wife sent them an explicit photo during a debriefing that everyone saw. And they went on about that for 5 whole minutes. It's like, yeah, that's funny. That's a 5-second joke, though. And everyone's just like, oh yeah, WhatsApp will download the photo unless you change the settings. Har, har, har. Too long, buddy. Too long. But I definitely don't seem to be the normal for this. John Cena is amazing as Peacemaker. I can agree with that. And the opening credit sequence alone is worth it, which I do not understand. I hated the opening credit scene. For those of you who haven't seen it, it's literally just a giant dance number with all the main characters, and it just was awkward as hell. I did not like it, but it seems like a lot of other people are. So, I mean, if it works for them, I'm okay with it being a show for other people as long as the majority of people like it. That's not a problem, but the opening credits was cringe as fuck. I'm rating the show so far after watching 3 episodes. It's the funniest thing I've ever seen on TV ever. Wow, that is high praise. Ooh, a 1 star. Just not funny. You can say the F words as many times as you like. Where's the joke? Yeah, there's a lot of that. Just like, oh, I said fuck 3 times. That's funny, right? There was definitely a few of those. Eitr Max's Peacemaker pros. John Cena is great. I agree. A douchey jockey superhero. The dance number opening credits is zany insanity, which I don't get why people are liking that, but whatever. The humor is pure James Gunn. Silly, naughty, and risque. Yep. Cons, outside of Peacemaker and Vigilante, I don't care for the rest of the characters. It sometimes runs the Family Guy, stretching the joke out way too long. Yeah, that's kind of what I was talking about. Some of the jokes just run on way too long. But overall, it's pretty positive or hugely negative. There doesn't seem to be a middle ground in the audience's reaction. And I definitely feel like I'm kind of in that middle ground. Like, there were parts that I loved, parts that I hated, but there was stuff that was way over the top, especially in the political aspect of it. Like, Peacemaker's father, that was way over the top. They just like Googled bullet points of white supremacy and made it a character. There's no such thing as subtlety in that character. Holy fuck, he was horrific to watch. It's not the actor's fault. I love him and other stuff. But they literally had people kneeling and hiling him at the end with, the thing I can't say. It was so over the top. It was not subtle whatsoever. But let's take a look at what the critics are saying about this show. The HBO Max series turns John Cena's Suicide Squad super assassin into a real boy by giving him a team, a mission, and serious daddy issues. Okay, these reviews are always really short, so there's not really a whole lot to say in them, but an interesting take. Gunn's best weapon is making Peacemaker palatable is old-fashioned storytelling? How is that old-fashioned? I don't get... I mean, it felt very James Gunn, so if you mean like James Gunn as he's been making movies for a long time, so it's old-fashioned, but I don't get that whatsoever. Peacemaker, like the Suicide Squad, dispenses with the pleasantries and gives us a piece of art that is much more real than anything in the MCU ever will be. I agree with that in the Suicide Squad sense, not the Peacemaker sense. Peacemaker is rude, crude, and politically incorrect romp that feels more appropriate for this particular American moment. It was politically incorrect. It wasn't politically incorrect. Politically incorrect means that the show is not on the side of the politically incorrect, but Peacemaker, whenever he's politically incorrect, he is berated for it. That makes it politically correct because it's corrected. Not used in the same sense, obviously, but no, it wasn't politically incorrect. But most of these seem to be rather high reviews. I don't see any negative ones on here. And I do appreciate how they didn't go into the political aspect of it, which I wholeheartedly appreciate from critics. Lends credence to them possibly doing a fair review. Expands on the film's unrelentingly trashy action with 8 episodes of cursing, stadium rock, and body horror, all wrapped around a surprisingly effective character-driven drama. That's actually kind of mediocre review. I don't know why it got, but at the end of the day, Peacemaker, I didn't hate. I'm going to keep watching it because I love the Suicide Squad so much and love James Gunn and hope that he's going to be able to stick the landing in the end. But for right now, I'm not really looking forward to it. Going to watch it if I don't have anything else to watch. But I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts in the comments below. That's all I have for today. So please like, share, and subscribe, and I will see you on the next video. Anon. If you like what I do here and want to see good, compelling stories that Hollywood will no longer give you, check out my book series, Odyssey of a Phoenix, a mythological epic about philosophy, morality, and modern-day mental illness issues. Books 1, Down in Flames, and Book 2, Apocalypse Then, currently on sale. Book 3, Kill the Dark, coming soon.